And
Hi.
we're live. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by artists striving to end poverty. Check them out at astep.org. This is where we're bringing together professionals of the healing arts with professionals of the creative arts to optimize your wellness. I'm Dr. Keith Bell, Doctor of Acupuncture and Chinese Medicine, coming to you from my holistic health clinic in Richmond, Virginia.
And I'm Mary Mitchell Campbell. I am the founder of A-Step. And my first name is Mary Mitchell, which has been something that has been brought up in conversation because Keith calls me Mary Mitchell because it's my name. But people do wonder why he's being so formal, but it's hyphenated and Southern.
It is
My grandma.
hyphenated in Southern. Yeah,
Hyphenated and
we had
Southern. Mary
we
Mitchell.
had great feedback from last week's breath work, and the only criticism we had was, "Hey, why are you calling Mary by her first and last name?" So we had to clear up that confusion. It is Mary
Just
Mitchell,
letting
first
people know.
name.
Yeah.
Well, can you believe that we are
And
in our second episode,
second episode. Very exciting. Very
and we
exciting. It was a
and we
it
have
was
a
a week of
fun
trying to
guest.
focus on wellness for me.
Hey, how'd you do?
First guest. Yeah. Um, I did okay. It was up and down for me, to be honest with you. But let's introduce Sierra Boggess, who is a
Yes,
longtime friend of mine and is a Broadway star and has a long relationship to A Step as a for her entire family has actually volunteered for A Step in India,
Mary Mitchell,
and
you are speaking in a beautiful
her
position.
older sister.
Sierra, can you hear her or see her?
I can only see her.
Sorry.
Well, Mary Mitchell, you're frozen, so I'm going to talk for a minute. Sierra, since we started this program, since it came into being and we wanted to do Wellness Wednesdays, where we brought together practitioners of the healing arts with professional artists, Mary Mitchell has said, we have to have my friend Sierra. We have to
Oh,
have. So
I,
welcome.
thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to be here. I think that this is so worthy. Right now, I feel like because everybody is we're on our screens all the time, and because that's what we have. We can't actually physically connect with one another. So I think that putting content out there that is worthy of seeing participating in, I think is really, really I think it's really important right now. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, I Googled you when Mary Mitchell uh,
An
said we were
excellent
going to
choice.
have you on. I went to Encyclopedia Google, and what I found out is you basically have started a movement. I am enough. Hashtag
Ah,
I am enough.
that's right. You are enough. You are so enough. It's unbelievable how enough you are. And the idea of that is just as we came onto this planet is enough. And I think that I just want to facilitate like a collective remembering of being enough. It's not nothing is I feel like nothing that any of us actually can say is like groundbreaking, because I feel like we know this at our soul's core, but we just forget because doubt is learned behavior, all these the fears, all this stuff. So I feel like a lot of times that takes over and we've just forgotten that we're enough. So I'm on this quest that's just like to remind ourselves and myself, everything that we say is because we need to hear it too. And there's so many times where people remind me that too. It's like, oh, I get crazy, and then people tell me, it's like, but what's your quote? And it's like, oh, you're right. Dang, that's it. That's all it is. It's that simple.
It is very simple, but it's hard for people because we're in a society where a lot of us value productivity, that we have to produce. So what do you say to people who believe they are enough, but then their boss says, "But I need more from you."
Well, I think the place to start, I think if you're coming from the place of I'm enough, then that's great. That in itself is the work. So if somebody then says I need more, you check in, and this is the world according to Sierra. So I think you check in with yourself. Does this match with my integrity? And if
Yes.
it does, then proceed. If it does not, if someone's asking you to do something out of your integrity, then the answer is no, I'm good, I'm enough. And this is what I do. But we can, there's where people say a lot of times you can push yourself further. Sometimes that is true. Sometimes it's not true. Sometimes it's actually the best thing for me to do is be still, and actually what I'm providing is enough.
You talked about that on your website, actually. You said that you believe that whenever we feel stuck, anxious, worried, or overwhelmed, that's an opportunity for us to reconnect, to be still, to be calm.
Amen. And I feel like, look at this time that we're in right now, this collective resetting. If we are one of the lucky ones that isn't worried about, you're not in the hospital, your family's not in the hospital, people that are dealing with actual life-threatening health issues right now. If we are one of the lucky ones that are just simply supposed to be staying home to protect and heal one another, then our job is not to be upset at it. Our job is to look at this as a spiritual experience of reconnecting to our enoughness. What is it? How may I serve, as opposed to what may I get? And especially for us that really do, I think, not just in the artist community, but in a bunch of different jobs, we are exactly what you said. Our productivity, being busy is the badge, all these things that we can't really do anymore. So now we get to reset and go, what's important? What has been the noise that I've been living in, and can I filter it right now and provide something useful?
And that's what holistic health is all about. We talked about last week that being healthy is not just the absence of disease, but it's about being fully well in your mind, your body, your spirit, your community, and the world. Mary Mitchell, you're back. Do you have something you want to say?
I am back. I just want to say I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
No, and I just want to say I have always admired Sierra and her outlook on these things. And you and I've talked about this a lot, Sierra, around some of our ideas around service and our ideas around enoughness. But I'm curious about how you whether you went through anything that set you on this road, if there were like any sort of instigating experiences that helped you find this.
Yeah, just when you start out, my Broadway debut, for those that don't know that are listening, was The Little Mermaid and The Little Mermaid. Now that sounds like everybody's dream come true, and it was. It was also my dream come true because, of course. But with that comes a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility. And with that, when you're just starting out and you're getting hit and thrust into this world in such a public way, and with such responsibility, because I say, especially with a Disney show, I put this pressure on myself. I don't want to be the one that ruins Ariel for everybody. It's like this Disney legacy. You don't want to be the one ruining it. So I think the pressure of that and the responsibility was something that I was ready to take on, but also was in the middle of and not realizing all that was occurring. It wasn't until I started actually receiving all these fan mails, which I wasn't ready for because nobody knew who I was until I came onto the scene. So suddenly I'm getting all this fan mail, and people are coming to me with the most intense things that you can possibly imagine. People that were that had threatened their lives, that had tried suicide attempts, people that were cutting, people with all eating disorders, all kinds of things, people that were trans, people that were afraid to come out to their parents, all of these things. And I'm receiving all these letters. And I started thinking, why am I receiving I'm not qualified, first of all, and it would be irresponsible for me to write back with some, therapy just from me. But I realized, and I go really deep with this, and I'm only articulating this within the past 3 years, that what I believe that people that were going through those things were responding to with me in particular wasn't Sierra Boggess. It's because Ariel, if you think about it, represents the person born in the wrong body, the wrong place, the wrong time, wanting something, knowing that there's something more, so much that she will sacrifice literally everything to get there. And it gives me chills, thinking about, because, and this is just, how I view this. And it's like, oh, of course you saved my life. You saved my life. Because that's like psychologically, I think what they're responding to. So I realized I thought the best way for me to respond to this is just by letting them know that they've been seen, they've been acknowledged. I've seen them, Ariel's seen them, write their name, write, "You are enough, love, Sierra." And that's it. And that is enough, as opposed to diving in and going through like, let me help you with, I mean, really serious things that I'm not qualified to work with. But I thought about Oprah, that's like, doesn't she say that's like, people just want to be heard. They just want to know that their story was heard. So what if I just let you know that I've seen you, I hear you, you're worthy, you are enough, and that's it. So, I think in like really responding to your question, I think that's what I would have needed to hear. If, yeah.
That's what patients need to hear too. So that's exactly what we do when we practice medicine. I mean, think about it. When you go see your physician or your doctor, if you're not feeling heard, then
Oh,
then the healing doesn't happen. You may get a shot or a pill, but the true healing happens when you feel like you're being heard. And for what I've seen, you listen, because somewhere along the lines came light lessons. And I want to talk about that, the power of affirmation, because a lot of people, frankly, think that affirmation is bullshit.
oh.
But but yet they go around telling themselves negative self-talk all the time, and they believe that. So why do you think it's so hard for us to believe our negative self-talk, but it's difficult to do an affirmation? I want you to talk about your affirmation cards.
I love that so much. First of all, Iyanla Van Zant said something, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was something like, we've become so accustomed to being misaligned, and that the biggest struggle in all of our lives is between the staying stuck in the darkness and the knowing that we can be better, the knowing that we can. And I love that idea. And I think that's the response, is that, yeah, it's exactly, why are we so willing to believe our negative self-talk? And it's because we're always towing that line between staying stuck, because we've become accustomed to staying misaligned. So with light lessons, because people ask me all the time, how do you stay so positive all the time? How are you positive all the time? I always respond with, that's not a thing. It is not to be positive all the time. That's not a thing. I go down too. And isn't it, don't you think, as bad to be, everything's fine all the time as it is to be depressed all the time and love all the time, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
so,
there is a thing of pathogenic positivity. When we're responding positively out of habit, and it's not really in us, that's a defense mechanism. That is not choice. So
Well, and
I'm
you're doing
glad
it
you
from a place of should. You're doing it from the place of I
right.
should be positive, no matter what.
Right. Some people don't know how to feel their true emotions, is what I'm hearing. So Sierra, Boggess does get down sometimes. So what do
yes.
you do?
I think what I will say is, I go down, but I can get myself out of that faster, because I am no longer willing to stay in the, I don't know if I can say a bad word on here, in the crap.
I think I
I'm
already did.
Oh, I'm not willing to stay in that. I don't want to build my home here. When I was younger, I think that I did without realizing it, especially like as artists, we're like, oh, I'm not going to be good on stage if I'm not just living in this like sadness all the time, the tortured artist thing. And I no longer am interested in that, because no, if I'm in my truth, then that's what makes me a better artist on stage. But so I developed light lessons because this was something that really helped focus me actually when I'm doing a show. If I pull a word, if I pull a stone, something that is a positive affirmation, a word as simple as like joy or kindness or you are enough or light worker or gratitude practice. Those things, because as artists, we're doing shows 8 times a week if we're on Broadway or on a tour in the wherever. And so each day I'm showing up to work with my Sierra life, and now I've got to perform. A lot of times that's easy because I just want to get into the show. Other times I can't shake what happened before. I can't shake and do my job. So, and I think that goes along with anybody's job. I mean, especially what you do, Dr. Keith. It's like, if you're coming in bringing your own stuff and you're not, then we can't listen to what people need.
It's very important to have a mindfulness practice so that you can be present at all times. But yeah, I do want to point out to our viewers that there's actually science behind these positive affirmations, because we are actually, as humans, are hardwired for negativity bias. And what that is it's for survival. So we remember the things that hurt us. We remember the things that are dangerous to us. And that's so we don't have to relearn, hey, fire is hot. Hey, this place is dangerous. But we also, when we have a negative emotional response or negative hurt or an emotional hurt to a situation, we remember that so much more deeply. And when you do positive affirmations, you're actually rewiring that negativity bias. It actually rewires your brain so that you experience more positivity.
That is so awesome.
So you're an artist, a scientist, and a healer.
Yes.
So many things.
Well, that's what they meant by a triple threat. I was singing and dancing and acting.
Redefined.
That is so, I mean, that blows my mind, but it also is like, oh yes, of course. And if we are on purpose, and that's not, I feel like when I'm talking about purpose, it's not like, are you doing your job right? You know, your job is your purpose. I disagree with that, especially right now in this, because most of us not doing our jobs. So if we're not doing our jobs, then who are we? If we've been identifying with I am my job. But if we are, I'm here to heal. When I'm performing, I'm healing. When I'm performing, I'm helping people. I'm like facilitating I thought of this the other day. I'm like an escape artist. I'm facilitating, like, I want to help you escape into the world of this for a bit. I hope you're feeling better when I'm doing my job. But if that's when I'm doing my job, that must also be when I'm not doing my job. Am I helping you feel better? Am I helping contribute to positive affirmations in your mind and in my mind? And am I contributing to that? And I think that goes along, especially with what you just said. If we are hardwired for negativity, then and darkness and pain and all that stuff, then it is so important to keep practicing the other too, so that we can maybe stay in a good balance.
The practice is very important. It's so important. Mary Mitchell, we're coming to the end of Wellness Wednesday.
I know, we are. This has been so good, though.
But
I could talk about this all day.
Well, and I'm sure they would love you to, but guess what today is?
It's Sierra's birthday.
It's your birthday.
It's yeah,
it's your birthday. Hey, hey,
oh
hey.
God, I love that.
So we're going to make a wish, blow out our candle. Yay!
Everybody felt that.
And
thank you.
I love that on your Instagram this morning, you're having a party and it says dress code is actual.
Well, it was actual Disney.
Oh, okay.
I like actual.
I like actual.
I'm obsessed with that. It's like, it's just actual. Because what does that even mean? But I bet people are like, oh, that is so meaningful. But
it means you are enough.
You are enough.
It means that you are enough. Showing up as you are.
Showing up as you are.
Come as you are. Come to this party as you are. Thank you so much for having me, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And Keith, can you tell who's going to be here next week?
So yeah, next week, join us for Dr. Lena Gupta. She is an academic dean at Pacific College of Health and Science. She was actually one of my professors when I did my doctorate. She was my favorite professor. And her expertise is wellness and peak performance. So go to A-Steps page, Facebook page.
Like us on Facebook.
Them, follow us, and join us next week for Dr. Lena Gupta.
That's excellent.
Thank you, Sierra.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.